INFJs, also known as empaths, mystics, and advocates, are a myers-briggs personality type known for their empathy and strong intuitive abilities. They live in a world of their own that's filled with quiet introspection and wild imagination. Since they have an uncanny ability to see through situations, people, and mere words to find true motives, hidden meanings, and unforeseen outcomes, they perpetuate the idea that they're psychics. Are INFJs really psychic? How do they use their psychic abilities? Stick until the end to find out. Psychic intuition of INFJs. For each personality type, the level and type of intuition vary. Some use extroverted intuition as the dominant function, whereas others use introverted intuition. An INFJ's dominant function is introverted intuition, or NI, which is a powerful gift that allows them to fully comprehend the things happening around them and foresee potential future events. The introverted intuition is what helps INFJs see, process, perceive, and navigate the world. Although intuition is a natural ability that everyone has, INFJs have an intuition that's focused inwardly. This means that INFJs often couldn't care more about what was happening on the surface. They instead try to peer deep into what something means to find out the core truth or the very essence of something, whether it is intent, rationales behind people, or hidden meaning and motives. In addition to being intuitive, INFJs also have strong analytical abilities and tend to assess the information they have at present to foresee possible outcomes. To better grasp what introverted intuition means, it is important to understand the opposite: introverted sensing. Introverted sensing allows people to process information perceived from past sensory experiences. On the other hand, introverted intuition is focused on combining perceptions and information from current experiences with unconscious reasoning to predict or envision what might happen in the near future. Mystics are adept at discovering patterns even in seemingly unconnected things and deriving conclusions from these vague patterns. But this doesn't mean that their hunches and forecasts are always on point. How do INFJs get psychic hunches? Aside from their dominant cognitive function of introverted intuition, INFJs also rely on their auxiliary function of extroverted feeling, or FE, and extroverted sensing, or SE. Personality types with FE are sensitive and perceptive of other people's feelings, moods, and emotions, which makes them compassionate and empathetic. This implies that an INFJ can sense even the slightest behavioral changes in those around them. They're naturally hyper-aware of people's body language, especially those with whom they spend time every day. So, they can determine people's intentions and true feelings based on gut feelings, facial expressions, and vocal tones. Their extroverted feeling also helps them determine a person's underlying emotions and feelings, to give an insight into what someone's going through without them telling anyone, or how they might respond to something or someone. Coming to extroverted sensing, this personality trait of INFJs allows them to gather copious amounts of reliable information from their surroundings. The information is then stored in a complex web of information, or mind map, inside their minds. Then, using their introverted intuition, an INFJ scans through all the information in their mind map, tries to connect the dots, and analyzes any pattern that presents itself. Finally, they interpret all these clues to create a projection of what may happen down the road, which makes people perceive them as psychic if the events come true. A massive part of this intuitive process takes place behind the scenes. An INFJ may not even know that they're doing this, since they do it subconsciously. Have you ever felt that your INFJ friend made a revelation out of the blue, like a magician conjuring a dove out of a hat? This is why. But you're not alone for most of the time. INFJs themselves do not realize how pertinent information trickles into their mind map to form a clear, coherent picture. However, after careful consideration and quiet introspection, they'll be able to reverse engineer things and understand how different clues led them to their insightful revelation. Understanding how introverted intuition works. INFJs with a powerful, well-developed introverted intuition first sense that something doesn't feel right with someone they know, or something unusual is going on around them. They get cues from the environment like body language, vocal tones, or changes in temperature, smells, and sounds. They then subconsciously analyze this information to determine whether something is out of place or betrays a person's true intentions. They spend some time quietly reflecting on what the patterns they see mean and try to connect all significant details that may have gone unnoticed by others. Soon, within a fraction of the time that it would have taken other personality types, an INFJ experiences the aha moment. They see what's happening around them as clear as day and can even perceive unforeseen events. even if there is a barely recognizable difference in a person's behavior or their surroundings. The power of the INFJ psychic mind. If we delve deeper into the INFJ psyche and break down how their introverted intuition works, it is remarkable. Once the INFJ processes what they know and are experiencing both consciously and subconsciously, they have visions, symbols, and even patterns popping up in their minds that have great significance. According to Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who is renowned for founding analytical psychology, introverted intuition works with the inner object, or what is commonly known as the unconscious. To understand this further, it is important to note that the human psyche is composed of three unique, interrelated systems: the ego, the unconscious, and the collective unconscious. The ego, represented by the Latin word I, refers to the self. From a psychological standpoint, Sigmund Freud, a neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, used the term to refer to the conscious mind. A person's emotions, thoughts, feelings, memories, behaviors, attitudes, and motives are part of the conscious mind. In simple terms, the ego refers to a person's identity. INFJs typically do not concern themselves with conscious or ego-driven information. Instead, they rely on the unconscious, or the second system, of the human psyche. The unconscious mind consists of things that people will generally not be aware of, since they take on an entirely different spectrum of mental operations. Forgotten dreams, memories, desires, fantasies, and more are all stored here. Intuition is part of this unconscious mind. The collective unconscious, or the objective psyche, is the third system, as defined by Jung. It indicates the notion that the deepest part of the unconscious mind is molded through collective experiences. As stated by Jung, the third system is responsible for ideologies and behaviors that are common across cultures globally. Those with a dominant knee, like INFJs, use the second and third systems of the psyche to deduce things around them. The INFJ is therefore easily able to detect trends and make predictions about outcomes and events, and all the visions and symbols they see occur in the unconscious. The benefits of being a psychic INFJ. How is an INFJ's strong intuitive mind beneficial to them? Well, for starters, the words hold immense power. INFJs are more comfortable with quiet introspection and silence and are known for being great listeners. They only contribute to a conversation when they have something meaningful and insightful to add. So when they speak, people listen with all ears. The words are considered astute and wise. Another significant benefit of their so-called psychic abilities is that they're not swayed by their ego. Since they don't make ego-driven decisions and instead focus inwardly, they're open and give value to the perspectives and needs of other people. Before taking a decision, they ask everyone's opinion, and this leads to better outcomes. Are INFJs really psychic? On to the big question: are INFJs really psychic? While an INFJ cannot read minds or see into the future with a crystal ball, they fully leverage their advanced intuition to scan through loads of sensory information and connect the dots. They see patterns and clues that no one else would, which gives them clues about what the future may hold. What makes them better at determining future outcomes than other myers-briggs personality types is the way their mind is programmed, and not because of any magical ability. INFJs are sensitive to all the energies around them and have the innate ability to understand and sense what others are feeling, experiencing, and their true motives. INFJs rarely take anything at face value, which is why they appear contemplative and analytical. For example, when anyone says something to them, they hear the other person's words but don't accept the words as the entirety of the message. They look into the person's eyes, read their body language, perceive their tone of voice, and try linking their behavior to past events to determine what they really mean. While this may make INFJs prone to overanalyzing, their insights are extremely accurate, much like a good psychic. In simpler terms, INFJs are somewhat like sponges who absorb the energy around them. This is why it's easy for them to get drained spiritually and physically. In this case, an INFJ tries to get back in tune with themselves by grounding themselves in a space away from others. Have you ever had your future predicted to the T by an INFJ? Are you an INFJ who can see into the future? Comment below. As always, like and share this video, and subscribe to your channel for more updates on psychology.